Sounding like angels standing up there singing. We certainly do enjoy it. Proud for what they're doing and where they're headed. Because I don't believe we're going to sit still. I believe we're going to keep moving. This morning, if you have your Bibles with you, I want to look at something maybe a little different than what we normally look at. And I titled this morning, Your Choice. And I've done that this morning because the Lord pressed it upon my heart. I want to look at this totally different. And one of the things that's been on my mind, and I don't understand why, and I don't question why, but I guess it's been about 5 or 6 years ago, we had a young man that was our neighbor to take his own life. He done it just before Thanksgiving, and we happened to be at home, and we started seeing the emergency vehicles and stuff go up there. So I walked up there, and his mother and father they was all at work, so we kind of had to help get a hold to them. But to make a long story short, is we was up there and we was talking to them and kind of consoling them. The young man was 21, 22, something along that line. But to make a long story short, the mother, of course, you know, we can all understand. She lost it. She kind of got herself gathered back up. But she looked at me and she asked me a question while we was standing up there. And while we was talking to her. But she looked at me and she said, "Will my son go to heaven?" That's a hard question to answer. It really is. And when I thought about that and I was thinking, and you know, how many times, and some of y'all may get these questions too, I get them a lot. Why this? Why that? Why does this happen to this one but not to this one? Why does this happen there and not here? Why is it I'm going through this and this one's not? Y'all ever hear any of that kind of chatter and questions and everything? I get that quite a bit, you know. I don't understand why this one was healed and this one wasn't. Well, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I don't know the answer to it. I'm not going to lie to you about it. But I want to show you something this morning that the Lord really blessed my soul when I was getting to read this. Probably my favorite Bible story there is about the 3 Hebrew children. But I want to show you something this morning that you're just going to have to grasp it. And I'm going to turn to Joshua before we open this up. And this is a scripture here that no telling how many of us have read, and I would almost bet every one of us has got it hanging on the wall or something in your house. And in Joshua 24 and 15, the Bible reads, "And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." And when I thought about all this, and I was thinking about, you know, this is our choice. And how many times have we ever read that? "Choose you this day and whom you will serve. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." And I wonder if I ask each one of you, what does that mean to you? What does it mean that you chose to serve God today? Have you ever done that before? Have you ever thought about what did it mean to choose God? What does it mean in your life to choose serving the Lord? I want to take you now to the book of Daniel, and in chapter 3, like I said, it's the 3 Hebrew children. We have read this story numerous times. I love this Bible story. I love the meanings that come out of it. But we're going to explore this maybe a little bit different, because I want you to understand serving God is a choice that you and I have to make. And when we make it, we have to make it wholeheartedly, because this is all up to us. This is all up to you and I. It's just like Joshua said, when you wake up every morning, you choose what clothes you put on, and you choose that day if you're going to serve God or not. You choose that very moment if you're going to give God the glory glory for whatever comes your way. And we find here, and I'm not going to read this whole story, but if you haven't read it, I encourage you to start at the first of the chapter. But actually, you need to start in Daniel chapter 1 and read all 3 chapters here. But what you're going to find is these 3 Hebrew children. They were named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And what you're going to find is through their serving of God, they moved up in ranks. And there was this king, old King Nebuchadnezzar, if you will. And what he done here is some of the people didn't like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego because they was serving God. And so what they done is this old king, they kind of tricked him, if you will. He built this golden idol. He wrote this decree. Now the thing about this was, and you got to understand this to see where I'm at. But when Nebuchadnezzar built the idol, he set this out. He said, when you hear all the music playing, for you to bow down to this idol. He said, I want you to bow down to it. He never forced them or said not to serve their God. He never took them away from what they had. But there was people in there that did not like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So they made the old king, they said, won't you make this a decree? That way if people don't bow down, then you're going to throw them into the fiery furnace. So he kind of put a twist to it, if you will. They kind of tricked the old king there just a little bit. So that's what he done. He's got this all set up. He's got this all set up. Now what you'll find is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they made a choice. They chose that moment. They said, we are not going to bow down. They said, we're not going to do it. We're going to stand. We're going to serve our God. They made a choice right there in their life. They said, this is what we're going to do. This is the way I'm going to do it. When they got up every morning, they decided they was going to serve God that day. And then when the king wrote this decree, he said, if you don't bow down, he said, I'm going to throw you in the fiery furnace. I'm going to burn you, if you will. But I want you to look at when he caught up with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, through the choices that they had made. I want you to look at what they said. Starting there in verse 16, the Bible says that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they had been brought before this king to stand because they did not bow down to those idols. They answered and said unto the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. You see, they had made a choice. They had decided right there that they was going to serve God. And when I read that we are not careful to answer thee in this matter, I stopped and I thought about you and I and the life that you and I live. I thought about our day-to-day walk. How many times have we had someone to ask us a question? Do we answer it in a matter for God, or do we answer it in a matter for the world? You see, you and I, we have a choice to make. Everything that happens in our life, every step we take, every time there's trouble in our life, every time something happens, we have a choice that you and I have to make. We're either going to serve God or we're going to serve man. And we have to make that choice. But look what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said. They said, we ain't worried about this, O king. They said, we're not careful to answer it. They knew the consequences that would come. You know, that makes a big difference to you and I when we're walking in this world. The consequences that's going to happen. You know, sometimes telling the truth makes people mad at you. Amen?
Amen.
So what do we want to do? We're going to tickle their ears. Ain't we? We're not going to tell them the truth because of the consequences. You see, we have to make that choice right there. We have to make a choice right there. And he said, we're not careful to answer thee. They knew the consequences. They said, our mind is made up. The choice has been made. I'm going to serve my God no matter what. I'm going to step on and keep going no matter what. I'm going to move forward no matter what. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was facing death right here. And they said, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to keep going. How many times something get in there that may cause somebody to laugh at us just a little bit and we run the other way? It may cause us just a little pain in our life, and what do? We choose to run the other way. Let's keep going. So the decision was made. They said, we're going to serve God. But I want you to look at verse 17. He said, 16 says, we're not careful to answer thee in this matter. 17, it said, and if it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from this burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O King. He said, if it be so. In other words, if you can't take what we're doing, if you can't take it that I don't bow down to that idol, my God is able to deliver me out of it. And I like the way they said it. He said he is able to deliver us from the fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand. Now, what I want you to understand here is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are saying, my God has the power to keep me from that furnace, but if he doesn't keep me from the furnace, he got me away from you. Y'all get that? He said he's going to deliver me from your hand. You see the choice that they made. They sat right here and they said, we're putting this all on God. I know I have enough faith to know that that fiery furnace can't bother me. But I have enough faith to know that if that fiery furnace takes my life, King God still delivered me out of your hand. They knew where they was going and knew where they was headed. They didn't worry about their life down here. They said, we're going to be brought out of it, or I'm going to a better place. Amen. But you see, because they made a choice. They said, I'm going to serve God. They made a choice. They said, I'm going on. But they said, either way, he said, I'm going to be a winner. I remember it was several years ago. I was probably 10 or 11 years old. I had a great aunt that was lying in the bed dying with cancer. My mother, I don't know how many of y'all know him, there's a few of you that do. My mother is a very, very godly woman. She is a very, very spiritual woman. My mother's the reason I'm here today is because I knew when I was doing things I shouldn't, Mama was praying for me. You just got to know Mom. But Mom was praying for my great aunt. She had a dream one night and she saw my great aunt getting up and walking around. And she went around and she told everybody. She said, God has done showed me she's going to be healed. God has done showed me what's fixing to take place. She's going to be healed. It was about 3 or 4 days after Mom had that dream that my aunt passed away. Now, my mom was heartbroken. And those of you that know her, I know Mindy knows her, she could probably tell you. For my mom to ask why, it's pretty... But my mom was saying, why, Lord, why? She said, you showed me that she was healed. And this went on for a couple of weeks. And Mom told me, and she's told me this story numerous times, she said, I was sitting there and I said, Lord, I just don't understand. You showed me her healing. And she said, it's just like I'm sitting here talking to you. She said, the Lord spoke to me and said, how much more of a healing does she need? Amen. Y'all didn't get that, did you? Amen. She said, how much more of a healing? And Mom was like, she was back to the point of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego right here. And this is what they're saying. They're saying, my God can deliver me out of this furnace. My God, I have enough faith to know my God can bring me out of it. But I want you to know that if He doesn't bring me out of it, I'm going home to be with Him. It doesn't matter what happens. I've made the choice to serve my God, and I'm going to run forward with it. And then He goes on. He said, but if not, be it known unto thee, O King, that we will not serve your gods, nor worship the golden image without a set up. You see, there's that choice. He said, no matter what happens, you make sure you tell everybody we did not back down. What about you? How many times do we back down when things start getting rough? How many times do we start backing up? How many times have you and I, we've never faced death, you and I sitting here. Never had to face death for Jesus. We've faced ridicule. We've faced persecution. We have faced everything. But we have never been to the point to face physical harm in our bodies. But how many times could you and I say, I'm going on for Jesus. I don't care what you do. I don't care what comes my way. I'm not careful to answer this. Yes, I'm standing on a firm foundation. Yes, I'm standing on a solid rock. Yes, I'm going to go home. I've got faith that my God can deliver me or He's going to take me home. We have choices to make. And I want to show you what they were standing on. You see, He told the 3 Hebrew children, He said, anybody that don't bow down is going to face the fiery furnace, right? That's hot, ain't it? Oh, let me find this. Here we go. Over in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, starting at the very first verse, we find these words. It says, but now, thus saith the Lord, that created thee, O Jacob, and He that formed thee, O Israel, fear not. You see, we don't have to have no fear. Why? He said, for I have redeemed thee, I have called thee by thy name, and thou art mine. He said, fear not. See that? Somebody say that's me. Oh, come on now. Somebody say that's me. That ought to get you excited right there. He said, but when thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee. Oh, come on now. And through the waters, they shall not overflow thee. He said, when you get to the river, He said, I'm going with you. And when thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, and neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. Woo! We ought to be excited this morning. Isaiah said the Lord told him, He said, I'm going to walk through the fire with you. He said, I'm going to go with you wherever you go. If you choose me, I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to walk with you whatever you're going through. I'm going to walk with you through the heartaches. I'm going to walk with you through the troubles and trials. I'm going to walk with you through the sicknesses of life. I'm going to be with you wherever you go. We ought to be excited this morning. We choose Jesus. We chose to be here this morning because He said, I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. Just like He did the Hebrew children. I done told the world, I don't care what happens. I'm going on for Jesus. I'm going on. I'm going to walk through the fire and He's going to be with me. If you don't believe me, we'll go on. Woo! It said in these 3 men, of course, I skipped a few verses here. We're going to go down to verse 23. Between 18 and 23, you're going to find King Nebuchadnezzar got bad. He got furious. He took the strongest men of his army. He took the best that he had. And he bound Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He took the biggest, best, strongest he had because he didn't want nothing to come apart. And he bound them up. The Bible said he was so mad that he fired the furnace 7 times harder than it's ever been fired before. You know, church, I thought about it. Oh, when the devil starts getting on my back, what's he want to do? He wants to bind me up as tight as he can. He wants to crank the heat up around me. He wants you and I to fall. But it's our choice that we serve God. It is our choice that we keep moving forward. It is our choice that God walks with us. And we finally threw them into the fire, and it was so hot that it even killed the men that took them up there. He got her cranked up. He said in these 3 men, verse 23, he said in these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Who I ain't going to be able to read this. It said that they fell down into the midst of the burning fire, bound up. They fell down into the midst of the burning fire. I can't even see that thing no more. Church, I thought about you and I when I thought about this. I thought about the world that we're living in. You know, the Lord showed me. He said, my people are being persecuted. My people, every one of us sitting here, we faced a trouble and a trial this week. Every one of us sitting here, we have faced something in our life that is trying to keep us away from Jesus. Every one of us sitting here has had things in our life that would pull us away from God, pull us away from church, pull us away from making the decision to serve God. Church, I want to tell you something. That's when you're bound up. That's when you're falling in the midst of the fire. It's when the devil thinks he's got a hold of you. He's got away with you. He's got you going his way. You're walking away from Jesus. We have to make that choice. You see, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they knew what was coming their way. I want to tell you right now, when you come to Jesus Christ, I'm going to tell you it's coming your way. But you have to make the choice to stand as they did. To stand up and say, I don't care, oh devil, you bring it on. You bring what you want to bring. You bring whatever you need to bring. Because I got Jesus on my side. You've already been defeated. You've already been taken down. I'm serving a true and living Savior. But he throw them down bound in the midst of the fire. I thought about how our people, how God's people, they keep getting put down. I thought about, I even actually went this far. The Lord showed me. He said, he said it's a crying shame that when you ask people to come to the house of God, it's so easy to make excuses not to be here. It's so easy to find an excuse not to show up to the house of God. But I'll guarantee you right now, if I was having a party at my house, we would all be there. We would sit outside, sweat running over us, have ourselves a good time. But people can't come to a fully air-conditioned house to sit and give our Savior the glory. That's right. When the devil gets us and binds us up, what do we do? Oh, Lord, help me. Why didn't you decide to serve Him before you got there? Why didn't we decide to serve Him before we got there? Because I want to show you what it's like serving Jesus. It says that Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished. He rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? And they said unto him, King, O true. old true king argued the guy, same thing. But the king got up and he was amazed. He said, wait a minute, something's going on here. Something's the matter here. He said, I put 3 men bound by the best men of my army into this fire. I put 3. 3, they was tied up. They was locked up. They was in the chains of this world. They was fighting things in this world that they couldn't overcome. They were in my grasp. I threw them into the fire. Yeah, you did. But look what he said. He answered and said, Lord. Let me rephrase that. He said, oh, wait a minute. He said, this ain't good. But he said, Lord. He said, I see 4 men loose and walking in the midst of the fire. He said, I see 4 men loose. Church, let me tell you something. If the devil's binding you up, you can make a choice to break those bonds free. You can make a choice to walk away from them. You can make the choice right now. Yes, you can still be bound up. You can still be thrown in that fire. Jesus didn't say that he wouldn't keep you out of it. He said, I'm going to walk with you through the middle of it. Amen. And even though the devil binds you up, he said, I see 4 men. The bonds are gone. The chains have fell off. Oh, everything that's supposed to hold them in there is gone. Everything that was tied them down to one spot, it's all broke loose. I put the strongest. The devil put the best he's got at him, but it ain't enough to hold you. When you got the 4th man walking around, when the Son of God walks with you, whoa! We ought to give him glory this morning. There is nothing you can face. There is nothing you can face. No matter what the devil throws your way, church, when you decide to serve Jesus, when you decide, I'm going to get up and I'm on the side of Jesus today. I'm not going to sit here just like that mother when I got asked those hard questions. I can't tell you why troubles come. I can't tell you why things attack our body. I can't tell you why you're going to face what you're going to face. But I can tell you this, there's a 4th man that is ready to walk through the fire with you. If it's physical, if it's mental, if it's emotional, he said, I'm going to go with you. You don't have to face the fires by yourself anymore. He said, you don't have to face the things of this world alone. You don't have to face that devil by yourself anymore. You see, you and I can't defeat the devil. He will beat me and you. The devil will take me and you out if we will let him. He will take you and I. He will put us in places that we don't want to go. But oh, let me tell you, that's a 4th man. The Bible says that he was in the form of the 4th was like the Son of God. Oh, but see, you don't understand. The Son of God hadn't come yet. The Son of God wasn't even alive yet. This is the Old Testament before the time of Jesus. And Jesus is still walking with them. He's still walking with us today. The 4th is the form of the Son of God. He is the Son of God. The man named Jesus. He said, come unto me. He said, I'm going to give you rest. I'm going to walk through the fire with you. I'm going to keep you. No matter what the devil throws your way, you're going to face troubles. You're going to face trials, but I'll walk with you. He said, and they have no hurt. Woo! He said, they have no hurt. You see, this old king is astonished. He took 3 men, he threw them into a furnace that was 7 times hotter. It was hot enough that it killed the men that took them up there. It was hot enough that it killed the ones that backed them up there. It killed the men that bound the chains down. It killed the men that tied them up. It was such a hot fire. It was a trouble like nobody had ever faced. It was a trouble like anything, like nothing anybody could ever imagine. them up. I put them in the midst of the fire. Oh, wait a minute. Something ain't right. I put 3 in there that had ties on them. He said, but I see 4 that ain't got no ties on. Oh, we ought to be excited this morning, church. That ought to get you crank stirred just a little bit. I'm not telling you that you're not going to face troubles, but I'm telling you, you can make a choice that when you serve God, He said, I'll walk with you. I believe it's even in there that He's going to go places that even the angels are scared to go. You see, church, when the devil takes you down those roads, there's places that the angels are afraid of. There's places that the old devil can take you to that the angels won't even get close to. But Jesus said, I'm going to walk with you through the middle of them. I'm going to walk with you through the fire. I'm going to break the chains of this old world that's going to tie you down. The flames that you're walking through, whatever it may be in your life, you can choose right now to serve God and you'll never walk alone. Let's go on to our next one. He said that Nebuchadnezzar came into the mouth of the furnace, and he spake and he said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. They just walked out.
Amen.
Amen.
That's right, amen.
Y'all not see that? Came forth of the midst of the fire. They just walked out. I bet that was hot stick. I bet they was dancing a little jig. They was excited. He said, in the prince of governor, captains, and the king's castle be together, saw these people, upon whose body. Now y'all read this with me. I want you to read this because you got to understand this right here. You got to understand this right here. He said, upon whose body they had no power. They saw these men upon whose body the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head singed. Neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire even passed upon them.
Amen.
Y'all get that, did you? Y'all burn a brush pile? You smell like smoke. You ever lit a brush fire? You're going to have some singed hairs, ain't you? You put gas on fire? You're going to have some singed hairs, ain't you? But he said that the fire had no power over them. There was no power that fire had. It didn't even change the color of their coats. You ever burnt your clothes? That's some stories right there. I bet it's Pizza Hilton's doing. We're not going to get into that though, but I bet that's some stories there. But he said that the fire could do nothing to them. It didn't singe their hair. Their coats weren't changed. They didn't even have the smell of them. That's the power of the choice to serve God.
Amen.
That's the strength of the power of the choice to serve God. Because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they looked at that king. They said, we're not going to think about it. We're not going to discuss it. I'm going to tell you right now, we will never look at your eyes. We are going to serve the Most High God. Now, I want you to know, my God is going to bring me out of this one way or the other. He's either going to bring me through it or He's going to meet me on the other side of it. I don't know which way it's going to go, but I know the way my God's going to walk with me. But the Lord told him, He said, I'm just going to give you a little bit here. And He said, I'll just go ahead and go the extra mile for you. He said, not only did He bring them through the fire, but He got in amongst it and He walked with them. Just as He told them, just as Isaiah had seen, when Isaiah told him, he said, I'll walk through that fire with you. Church, I want you to know right now, it doesn't matter what you're going through. in your life. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. You can think that everything's falling apart. But I want you to know, when you choose to serve Jesus, He's going to walk with you through it. He's going to take you out the other side. But all we have to do is decide, yes, I'm going to serve my Jesus. Yes, I'm going to serve my Lord. Because I'm scared of walking out of fire by myself. I'm scared of walking through the flames by myself. I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid to walk in amongst all this by myself. So I'm going to serve my Jesus because I'll never walk alone. I'm going to choose today. And when I say me, we're going to choose this day, and as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord, I know what I'm choosing. I'm choosing to never be alone. I'm choosing to serve a God that's bigger than anything in this world. I'm choosing to serve a God that is able to heal this body, and if He's not, He's going to take me to the other side. I'm choosing to serve a God that whatever troubles and trials come my way, He's going to walk with me through them. I'm choosing to serve a God that when I get burdened down, He says, bring them to me. Cast them upon me because I care for you. I am choosing to serve a God this morning that is standing right beside me right now, right this moment. He is here with us today. I am choosing to serve my Jesus. So I ask you, what about you? What about you? Did you wake up this morning and choose, yes, I'm going to serve my Jesus? Or did you wake up this morning and say, well, I need to go to church, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to go so Mom and Dad shut up. That's my big one. Remember those days? Yes, Mom, I'll go today. That'd give me about 2 weeks before I had to go back. I remember those days. I remember those days. And I had to choose one day and said, yes, I'm going to serve my Jesus. Because I'm tired of the devil defeating me. I'm tired of him getting me down. I'm tired of being burned up by the fire. I'm ready to find somebody to walk with me and bring me through. So we chose Jesus. I'm going to ask you if you would stand with us. And we'll put our song together. And I just want to ask you this morning. If you haven't chose Jesus, I want to invite you to come. Maybe you're facing something this morning. I want you to come. We want to help you pray for it. But Jesus wants to walk through the fire with you.